underneath it. Before we even get into that, we have to make sure our printer settings are correct. So you want to go to your control panel and open up your printers and faxes control panel down here, printers, and then our printer right now is the Sinfonia CS2. I'm going to go into printing preferences here. And right now I have it set to 2x6 strip paper. I don't want that for this layout. I want a 4x6 inch print, and I want it landscape orientation. So I'm going to hit apply there and hit OK. And it's important that you do this before you use the Photobooth Wizard in dslremote Pro, because the wizard uses those settings to create the layout. Now that we have the printer set up correctly, you want to click on File and then go down to Photobooth Setup Wizard. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do one large photo with 3 smaller ones below. So I'm going to click on that option right there. I'm going to hit Next. I'm going to call this one big, 3 small template. I'm going to hit Next. And this, again, is the folder in which all the graphic files are saved. So it's going to be under right here, C, My Documents, Photobooth Images, and then there's a folder going to be named One Big, 3 Small Template that all the images are going to be created in. I'm going to hit Next, and I am going to check some things I want and hit Finish. And everything has been created for this layout or template. So we click on Start, we go to Documents, we go to the folder Photobooth Images, and then open up the One Big, 3 Small Template. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a large view. And the ready screen is going to give us a choice between color and black and white. You're going to see this in a little bit. And then all the other screens are pretty much black with white text. We're going to add an overlay file to this to make the printout look really neat. That's going to show you, let me show you first how to manipulate this a little bit. I'm going to go under Photobooth Settings and go to Custom Layout Settings. And it has all these crazy numbers in there. If you're really technical, you can mess around with that stuff. I'm going to keep this simple and just go to Preset Layouts. It's a lot simpler layout. This is what our Photobooth template is going to be looking like. Okay. The problem with it is, by default, the images are too close together. It doesn't leave us any space for frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the margins bigger around it. And I'm just arbitrarily making these bigger. There's nothing really precise about what I'm doing. Okay, so before they're all 50, I changed them either 88 or 77 pixels width. And that looks really good to me. So I'm going to hit OK or Enter. And you can see all these numbers have changed now that we've done that. We can click on Preview again. And this is what it's going to print out like. And I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to click on Save here, and yes, I want to save the printer connections here, and I'm just going to go up to my folder. One Big, 3 Small Template is a folder we made. Double click on Settings to overwrite it and hit Yes, and hit OK. Now that is saved. I'm going to go to Photobooth Settings one more time. Just to speed up this tutorial, I'm going to change the delay between images to 1 second. And I'm going to go File, Full Screen Photobooth Mode, and click on Start here so it takes some images. Okay, great. So it's processed the images. I'm going to go ahead and show you what we've just done. We go under My Documents here. We go under Photobooth Images. We go under today's date, where all the images are stored. And you can see the images that were just taken pretty much. Inside the Prints folder over here is going to be the image that we just created, this template. So it looks nice, but it's pretty boring. I mean, it's got a white background, a big white space in the upper right-hand corner, and we want to jazz this up. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this picture into Photoshop Elements. So I'm going to right-click on it, and we're going to open it with Photoshop Elements 11. So this layout is really designed for some big graphic to be placed right over here. Before we go into graphics, I'm going to double-click on the background in the upper right-hand corner. Oh, this is just a trial. And when you double click on it, it will pop up with a dialog box. Hit OK. I'll change it to layer 0. Let's go to the bottom right hand corner, click on the plus sign that says graphics, and then choose graphics from the drop down list in the upper right hand corner. Oh, let's see, what kind of layout do we want to make today? Okay, let's do some kind of wedding layout. Here's a graphic I like. Just click and drag it over there. It downloads it from the web. Oops. If you mess up, you can hit Control-Z on the keyboard, or go up to Edit and then do Undo, and that will fix that. So I'm going to select this curvy flower thing. Okay, so I am going to duplicate this by holding on Control-Alt on the keyboard and clicking and then dragging it over. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my mouse and put it in the corner and rotate it 90 degrees or so, or 180, it's more like it. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to take my text tool, so I'm going to go under Graphics, Text, and let's do like a metallic looking typefax. Bevel is actually what it's called. Okay, so my text here, I'm going to call it Mike, and Lisa's wedding. I'm going to hit Control-A on the keyboard to select everything, and let's see, where are the text tools here? I'm going to choose a different font. Let's see what looks cool here. Oh, a bunch of weird fonts. I don't actually use this computer for much graphic work. I am just Edwardian script. It looks very wedding-ish, but it needs to be bigger. So let's choose 24 point, maybe a little bit bigger, 30 point. I like it. Click on the green check mark to OK it, and then move it right over here. It's too big, so I'm going to drag the corner handles in, drag these in a little bit. Okay, and then I am going to duplicate this. I hit Control-Alt on the keyboard. I click and drag it down over here. Now, why would I want this twice? I don't. So I'm going to choose the text tool over in the left-hand column, the T, select everything, and I'm going to put in the date, September 13th, 2013. Okay. Okay, so I got my graphic in the upper right corner over there, but my frames are non-existent. I want to spice this up, so I'm going to go over to my frames, here are my graphics, and see if I can find a frame that looks kind of classy and something you might see at a wedding. So, let's see, here is a frame. It's kind of like very formal to go with the font, so I'm going to go ahead and use this. Okay, so I'm going to click this frame and bring it over here. And I am just kind of guessing where it goes. You want to overlap it a little bit over the image. Okay, so looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and double click on, alright, hit the green check mark to OK it, and I'm going to hit Control-Alt on the keyboard and drag it down here. And I made a duplicate of it, and now I'm going to resize this duplicate. And to resize it, you just click on the handles and move them up and down a little bit, pretty much. Okay, so before going any further, I'm going to click on, I'm going to hit the green check mark to set that transformation. And I'm going to move this Mike and Lisa's wedding over, and this leaf looking thing I'm going to resize a little bit smaller over here. so it's not a text. And hit the green check mark. I'm going to do the same thing over here, resize this in a little bit to make it smaller. Hit the green check mark. So I'm going to go to the bottom right hand corner, click on layers again, and I am going to change the opacity of this layer so I can see how well it lines up with my photo by clicking on the layer. Oh, not brass leaves, I'm on the wrong layer, sir. So I go down to this frame, and then I change the opacity a little bit. And I can make this frame bigger. You see how it's clipping the side of the image a little bit? I'm going to stretch it out here and a little bit here, but not too much actually. I'm going to move this over a little bit. So it's cropping the image a little bit, but if I move it out all the way, I didn't put enough space in between these images. Okay, and I'm going to change the opacity back to 100% now that we have it lined up. Hold down Control-Alt on the keyboard, move this over, and hold down Shift-2. That will keep it aligned. And I am just guesstimating this. That looks good. I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Shift on the keyboard and click and drag again. Move that over. And we have this layout so far. The last thing I want to do is I want to change this boring white background. So I'm going to click on Layer 0. I'm going to go to Graphics, the plus sign icon at the bottom, and I'm going to choose at that top drop down list backgrounds. Okay, so let's see what this background would look like. I just double click on linen stripe. Let's see what we get. It's taking a while to download it. So it did download this layer, linen stripe, but we don't see it. The reason we don't see it is when we go to layers over here, it put it underneath layer 0, which is our original template. So I'm going to click on the eyeball next to layer 0 to hide that. That way we can see the background. So that looks pretty good. Let me go back over to graphics here and see if there's any other layers I like. How about this stripe looking thing here? So I'm just double clicking on it. I mean, that's okay. I kind of like the linen better. Oh, that's the one I just picked. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, this might look good. Scrapbook 08 is the name of this layer. So I'm just double clicking on it. See what we have here. Yeah, I like that better. It's much more, the tones, the earth tones go better with it. Okay, so we have this template. The next thing we want to do is save it. So I want to do this work again. Okay, save as. And I'm going to go up to my template. I'm going to call this 3 big, oh no, 1 big, 3 small template. Okay, so in the future, if you want to modify this template, you can very easily do it by, choosing this frame, and you just go to the frames, and then you double click on a different frame like this one here, and instead of being a nice formal frame, you got some rickety old looking frame here. And that way you can change the way a template looks very quickly, very easily. You can do the same thing with the background, the graphics, the fonts. It's all pretty editable. But we need to change this in an overlay next. So once you change it in an overlay, you can't really edit it anymore. That's why you need to save 2 copies. One, the Photoshop layer document, and one, the overlay. Okay, so that's just a crazy example. I'm going to hit Control-Z to undo that. I'm going to go back to the layers in the bottom right-hand corner. And what I want to do is I want to double-click on this background to create a layer. And then I want to right-click on it and choose Merge Visible. Now it's very important that you make sure everything's a layer. You can't have any backgrounds in it, otherwise you lose your transparency. And what is transparency? Well, transparency is what you need to do to let the photos show through, because this is going on top of your photo booth output. So just choose the rectangular selection tool here. Okay. And I'm going to choose that. I'm going to choose layer 1 and hit delete. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And hold down the Shift key. That will allow me to make multiple selections, because I'm kind of lazy. And then I hit delete here. Okay, so this is what your overlay is going to look like. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect those images I just deleted. And I'm going to save this as an overlay. So you File, Save As. Now remember, you have to call it overlay. If you call it birthday overlay or wedding overlay, the program's going to say, I don't see an overlay file. You named it the wrong way. So make sure you call it overlay. Make sure you save it as a PNG. If you don't save it as a PNG, it's not going to work either. So again, you need to save this under My Documents, Photobooth Images, and then whatever you called it. In this example, it's one big, three small template folder. So I can click on Save here. Hit OK. And we go back over to DSLRemote Pro, hit File, go full screen photo booth mode, and then I hit Start. And I have a little telephoto lens I'm holding for this example. A couple other things just to mix it up. Okay, so it should have created the template. I'm going to hit Escape. I'm going to click on the Start button. My Documents. You should know this by now. Photobooth Images. One big... No. I'm sorry. That's where the template folders are. The actual pictures are under the date. And then we go to Prints to see the layouts. And here's the layout we just did. So there you go. You have Mike and Lisa's Weddings template layout. You have the pictures right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks decent. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please let me know if you have any questions.